everybody, welcome back to Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. Obviously, we're not in the Tesla today. We're actually in our Explorer. We talk about maintenance on a Tesla all the time and how easy it is. I'm talking about a little bit today on maintenance on the Explorer, in addition to other things. This is just the first part of our video. We noticed it was shifting a little bit harder in first gear, and I was looking, it doesn't look like it's ever had its transmission fluid flush. And as you know, having trouble shifting like that, and it's not real trouble, just like, oh, that shifted a little harder than it should have. It's usually a sign of either it needs to have the fluid changed or there's some issues with the gears. But I can tell you right now, I don't believe there's any issues with the gears. So we're on our way to get our transmission fluid flush. And after that, we're gonna talk about some more stuff and go on a little adventure today. So that didn't go exactly as planned, and wow. So long story short is, went to get a transmission flush, which I already got my estimate and cost, everything, and had my appointment. And I wanted to get an oil change as well, as I didn't realize it was due for an oil change. And I noticed there's like a slight miss in the car, so it probably is, it's time for a tune-up, some spark plugs, right? Well, I won't bother you with all the explicit detail, but that was the most confusing and awkward trip I've ever had to have work done on my car, to the point where I was like, you know what, dude? Let's just do the oil change, and I'll worry about the other stuff with a real mechanic. And by that, because it was like one of those, you know, quick service places. I won't name the name just yet, but I was flabbergasted. I mean, to the point where I had got a hold of my father-in-law to ask him a quick question to make sure I wasn't crazy. So the price I was originally quoted with everything, it seemed reasonable. In fact, I would say, okay, maybe a little low. I expected a little bit more. I was told $180 for the transmission flush, and that included fluids. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes about sense, but I thought it was gonna be closer to $200. And oil change, which last time I got my oil change at the same place was $89.99. And then I was like, okay, spark plugs, and probably with labor and everything, a couple $100. So they bring out the first quote, just for spark plugs and just a basic tune-up was $900. Okay, I'm exaggerating, $880 something. I'm like, okay, we're gonna hold off on that. He's like, well, you need this, this, and this. In fact, I'd recommend doing all 6 spark plugs. Well, yeah, man, it's kind of what I asked you for. And then the transmission flush, he goes, yeah, it'll be about $300. I was like, $300, I already received, that's why I'm here, is I received the quote on that. It was $179.99. He's like, oh, you need a special kind of transmission fluid. Okay. And I know that was covered in the cost when we talked about the estimate and the quote. He started going on, then it dropped down to $260, then went back up to $300. Like, he was all over with the price. So at this point, I finally said, dude, let's just do the oil change. I will take it to a mechanic shop. Let's just do the oil change. He goes, okay. He told me how much it would be. I'm like, oh, you know, it's $10 more than I paid last time, but whatever. I just want to get out of here at this point. And then as soon as I ran my card, he goes, okay, I'll take you out to your car. I'm like, oh, no, how long is it going to take for the oil change? Oh, they're done. I'm like, what do you mean they're done? He goes, yeah, they already changed oil. I'm like, I just now said I want to do an oil change. And that's when his eyes got big, because I think he realized they screwed up a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I came here for the transmission flush. That's what I've been talking about. And about 5 minutes ago, I said, all right, let's just go ahead and do an oil change. Don't get me wrong, I'm not angry because I got to get out of there faster. But what if I would have said, you know what, dude, never mind, I'll just take it somewhere else. They had already done the work without me saying yes or that I wanted that work done. Oh, okay. I'm done. It's over. I just know not to go back there anymore. Now that we're moving, I have no reason to go back there anymore. I did find out it's new management, which he was the new manager of the facility. We had gone there every time before for the oil changes in this car, and it's always been great service. That was just really odd. Which is another reason I love my Tesla. The only maintenance I gotta do is, you know, tires, windshield wiper blades, and occasionally windshield wiper fluid. No going back and forth over little things like this, which suddenly magically change in price from the original quote. That was really angering. And I think the part that made me laugh the most, I think he was trying to talk to me like I knew nothing about cars. It's like, no, dude. Like, I know about cars. Oh, well. Moving on. Now push all the way to the side. Get behind it here. Sometimes you got to call in the big muscle. Just swinging by the house to check out something. Wait. You know, this is like the 3rd time I've showed up and I check and it's like, hey, open every day. And then I show up here. Sorry we missed you. Oh, well, I was mostly stopping by just to check out to see if a big piece of furniture that we have would actually fit in the house. I think it will, but it's might be a tight fit there, so that's all the reason I'm swinging by now. But let's move on to the next thing. Tucson, one of the many things we're known for is always being under construction on our freeways. If you don't believe me, just drive in Tucson once. And I just did something I swore I would never do. I bought Crocs. Not for me, for the kids. No, I'm a grown-up. Because Charlie actually had a pair of like generic off-brand versions of Crocs, and he broke them this morning, and it was about the end of the world. So we decided to get him a new pair and get him a legit pair this time. You tired? Having a rough day? Do you want a present? Yes or no? Say it loud. Yeah? Well, I feel bad that you broke your shark shoes. But Daddy got you orange Crocs. And look what's on it. Marshall? And who's that? You want to try them on? Do you like them? Are they your favorite? What color are they?
Orange.
Is that your favorite color? Yeah. You guys both get Crocs?
Yeah.
They make you run faster? I think I did okay. Now back to moving. So we really had nothing particularly planned today. Except since we're always talking about our great Southern Arizona pizza tour, I thought, why don't we make pizza at home? Let's check it out. My wife was nice enough to make some dough for us yesterday. We let it ferment for 24 hours, and we're trying out this new King Arthur specifically made pizza dough, pizza flour. I will say, we'll talk about like in a future video, like the type of flour and stuff I prefer to use. But this is just for a quick homemade meal. Let's check it out. This is the Great Southern Arizona Pizza Crawl, our house. And here it is. I forgot to take it out of the fridge earlier, so I would like it to come to room temperature for a couple hours, but in this case, we had it for about an hour. And as far as the sauce goes and everything, I haven't decided what we're doing yet. If I'm gonna make something from scratch, or if we're gonna use a pre-canned one, but we'll see. I got some flour right now and start stretching out the dough. Bam! This is gonna be the fun part. Ooh, I forgot to take my ring off. Get our hands nice and floury so as not to stick. And you don't want too much flour. In fact, a big part of what they do is they knock off the flour after they get some on there so they can start the process. And by they, I mean like me, I guess. And forgive any kind of stuff you see in the background right now, because keep in mind, we are getting ready to move right now. So a lot of stuff is being packed. And it's been a while since I've had to do my pizza skills like this. We're gonna go for a thinner New York style pizza tonight, but you wanna keep that crust on the outside. A little bubble, there we go. And we have our oven preheating to 530 right now, because my oven is not capable of doing the higher numbers that we would like to see. So we're gonna pinch tight our little holes there. Because my goal is I wanna go as thin as I can. It tore. All right, that part's done. And I think I'm gonna make the sauce from scratch, which is always fun. What I like to use is San Marzano tomatoes, which is the best you can get. These are peeled tomatoes, so I'm gonna squish them by hand with my spices and everything. And we're gonna go with a cold sauce. We're not gonna heat this up at all. I don't really see a reason to. It's gonna be a simple sauce. It's not like my normal one that I do that takes basis, but hey, it's gonna be fun. We may end up having to go with a pre-made sauce because we're out of a lot of spices. I didn't realize we were running that low on a lot of stuff, because we weren't buying a whole lot because we were, getting ready to move. Yum. Squishy. Okay, I was able to find enough of the spices to do what I want to do, but now we squish. Probably goes without saying, make sure you wash your hands. I did. I just didn't feel the need to show you all that. I have seen people more than once do this in a blender, which is totally a viable option. But there's just something about old school squishing it with your hands. It makes you feel like you're really part of it. Got my spices in there. Let's get it all nice and mixed up now. Probably gonna do more. That was just like the first bout. Oh, and this vlog is not brought to you by Liquid IV, but if they ever want to, I'm here for you. I love your product. Especially the sugar-free. I'm shocked how much I prefer the sugar-free over the regular one, but hey, it's delicious and it helps me stay hydrated. We may have went a little too thin on the dough. We're gonna find out here. We're gonna do a ladle of some of the sauce. Let's spread it out. And the key here is people like to over-sauce their pizzas. Let your sauce do the work. Just thin it out and it will absorb the cheese. You don't want that greasy mess that we always talk about in our videos. And remember, we always want to go with that low moisture cheese if we can, because that's what's going to give us that nice taste that we have. We're going with the Kirkland brand, but it's not necessarily my favorite one. We're going to go for about 7 minutes at 530 degrees because that dough is really thin. Let's see what happens here. And what's pizza without wings? And here we go. I got to get a real pizza pill at some point and a better cutting board, but I'm letting it cool down right now. Let's take a look at the bottom. Like I said, really thin by accident in the middle, so let's see how it goes when it cools down. Guys, this is our final product. What I did was, Dana made the dough and she's fantastic. She's a great baker, so I trust her with the dough. We're working on that recipe. We did a low moisture, partial skim, partial low moisture musserelle. And what I did with the handmade sauce, like I showed you earlier, was San Marzano tomatoes, and they were whole and peeled. I squished them myself. Did a combination of different spices, including garlic, salt, a little bit of pepper, some Italian seasonings, and a couple more. I don't use sugar in there because I think the San Marzanos are naturally sweet enough where you don't need to use sugar. And as for a topping, instead of going like traditional pepperoni or what have you, we used a fattier prosciutto. So I'm really anxious to try this. I was waiting for Dana to get home. I hope I can wait for her to get home. It smells so good. While we're waiting, let me show you guys something. As you all know, as we've said it to every video we've done recently, we're going to be going to Oogie Boogie Bash. My wife is a wizard with the cricket machine and everything else. So she actually made these really cool shirts for us. Look, Vampire Mickey. Vampire Mouse. It's copy. Yeah. Anyway, but she used like this puff material, so it kind of feels like a Spirit jersey, which is cool. So I'm going to have to get her to start making me some merch for y'all. Like Spirit jerseys for Tesla Tech and Travel. Remember earlier when I said Tucson's roads are terrible? Still waiting for Dana. Back up on the freeway. Again. But hey, wings are done now too. Just traditional buffalo. Charlie, look what we made. What is it?
Pizza.
We always eat pizza, don't we?
Yeah.
I like pizza. You like pizza? Okay. Well, here it is. Dana's home. She went home. She went out to make the bacon today. Although I actually physically brought bacon home. But... So like I said, it's got that nice little wing. It's got good foldability. Let's take a bite. Well, yeah, we're doing our own pizza review. It's the next stop in the Southern Arizona Pizza Tour. I'll take it that it's good. She won't say words. What do you think? But I actually really like it. Plus, it's been sitting for a little while. But like, look at the back on there. I probably could have gone like another minute. Because this was 6.5 minutes cooked. Because it was really thin and a really high temperature. And we got the nice crispy on there. In fact, the oven was so hot when I was putting the cheese on the pizza before putting it back in, it was melting.
Okay.
But I don't know, it's a good step because, you know, the end goal to all of our pizza stuff is one day I would like to own my own pizza place. And seeing that you're a fantastic baker and working on that dough recipe, and I know how to whip together a pie. Unless I stretch too thin like I did today.
No, I think it's just good. It tastes better than it did last night.
We let it ferment for 24 hours.
Yeah.
I would like to let it ferment at 48 hours, even like 20 hours at room temperature. I give it a 10. I made it. Thanks for following us along today. It was an interesting day running around running errands. Charlie's got crazy fast new shoes. That boy loves his Crocs. At least we never have to worry about like teenage pregnancy. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Still moving, still going to Oogie Boogie. I showed him your cool t-shirt you made.
Oh.
And you know, they're copyrighted. I mean, they're not copyrighted. Just kidding. We got one more thing. I bought the boys both Crocs today, as we just talked about, and you saw earlier. Charlie loves his orange Crocs. They make them super fast, right, Charlie? Super fast? And there he goes again. He's showing us how fast he is with his super new Crocs. Actually, Henry asked me, why does it have 2 modes? I'm like, 2 modes. And he showed me how you can put the hill down and hill up. He referred to it as 2 modes.
You want pizza? You can have pizza, bud.
But they got charms, and it was buy 4, get 1 free. So I got one for Dana, too. Because she has a pair of Crocs I've never seen her actually wear. I feel like I'm looking at your Crocs all the time. But...
It's Mirabelle.
That's her name. I couldn't remember. I still haven't watched Encanto.
It's Mirabelle from Encanto.
And I figure since we're going to Disneyland, we'll talk about Maribel. Just not Bruno. Right? That's the thing?
You got a piece?
Okay, I gotta get Charlie Peace Pizza now. Now, really, bye-bye, everybody. Say bye, Charlie.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Time for wings.